Okay, so as of recording this little bulletin video that I'm going to do right now, it's looking all the more likely that Obi-Wan Kenobi is getting a season 2. Now, you guys know my stance on this. You know my thoughts. I wanted this to be a limited series run because I wanted 6 juicy quality episodes that were a self-contained story that still left the mystery and the ambiguity when you watch A New Hope for that time period there. But I think the way the first 3 episodes have played out, and I think the way that they've been writing it, I think it's definitely likely from a story perspective that they could continue. As to what they'll be doing, you could explore more with the Lars family, keeping them safe. You could explore more of Anakin's backstory on the planet. You could explore maybe you could probably bring in Darth like things like Darth Crate. You could bring in stuff like that. Um, you could do quite a bit. So there's a few pros, but again, a few cons. That I'm worried that this means it's going to alter the fate of this season. Now, with a season 2 moving forward and happening, I still think Reva is going to get the chop, but with a season 2 now being mapped out, it is possible she could live. And the thing is, if you wanted to continue Kenobi up until a New Hope, you could. You could do 9, 10 seasons of this. But for me, this time period, you want to keep that mystery there, that ambiguity, that the not knowing everything. You want to make sure that when you get to A New Hope, that it still feels like there's some magic there, and the aspect that we don't know everything. So when old Ben Kenobi is describing it to Luke, and he tells him the story and the journey, Luke's like, "Oh my God, I'm enamored in this world." Because the thing is, this isn't necessarily a prequel, but it's in that same kind of vein. And as I've always said with prequels, you always run the risk of messing up shit because you're playing around in the timeline. And I can't help but feel like this is a response because Kenobi is the most watched show on Disney Plus, beating everything Marvel as it should, beating every other Star Wars show. It's crazy to think that Kenobi is what's brought Star Wars back. I just wish the episodes were reflective of that. You guys know how I feel. Episode 1 and 2, good, but, very 50-50. Episode 3, much better. Still a bit, but much better. Um, and I feel like it's just a huge response to the success that Kenobi's had in terms of viewing figures and all that kind of stuff. And, you guys know me, I'm all about sources. What's the source? What's the quantification for where this info is coming from? It's coming from various good sources. It's not just coming from Billy Bob's movie blog and some random domain. So I wouldn't be surprised at the end of episode 6 if they announce a season 2. I wouldn't be shocked. And they could do more with young Leia, they could do more with young Luke, they could do more with Bail Organa. But the thing is, it's going to take away the gravity from moments when Vader threatens Reva. If she somehow lives, it's going to take away the gravity of moments like that. And I don't know how I feel about that. Now, Lucasfilm or Star Wars haven't confirmed this themselves. I mean, why would they? But it's in development, it's in pre-planning, it's in pre-production, which means essentially, it's not even in pre-production. They're at just a story treatment stage. So I am hoping that this 6 episode run does tie up its own story, and if they are to do a season 2, it is more focused on Kenobi, and you can still have Anakin in there because you're on his planet. But after that, you cannot take Obi-Wan off-world. You just can't. Now, if you're going to do a season 2, as I said, you could do him dealing with a fallen Jedi that's gone to the dark side, protecting the Lars family. Hell, they could make the timelines sync up. So you actually see the Rebels' confrontation between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul. You could have that play out on screen, and maybe as the seasons progress, Ewan McGregor starts to get older, and his hair and his facial hair starts to look more like reminiscent of Alec Guinness. You could have so much of that, but I I don't know. I'm cautious. I'm cautious about this. Now, again, this could still be 100% wrong. Maybe this is all BS and someone's doing this all for clicks. But sometimes this is how these things start. I've seen Charlie from Emergency Awesome talk about it already. So when he starts talking about it, it's like, okay, maybe we can definitely start, it will start gaining some traction. I just I just really hope that the way this show plays out, you know what I can see happening? I think Reva's going to redeem. I think if they're doing a season 2, I think Reva's going to redeem. The Grand Inquisitor is going to come back for blood because he's not dead. And I think what then is going to happen is the Grand Inquisitor is going to lead a hunting party for Reva. But then that falls to question of why would Vader let Kenobi go? Then you got to answer that. This is what I mean. When you play around in that sandbox, you got to be extremely careful. Um, but but it's I don't know. I'm very curious, but there is a part of me that's worried because when it was announced as a 6 episode run, I was like, okay, they're gonna go all in these 6 episodes, and if I'm being completely honest, they haven't. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. I just hope they don't spend any longer in this sandbox than they need to, because Kenobi is very precious to me and many other Star Wars fans, and I just hope they be careful. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts down below.